Welcome on in. I feel like a YouTuber, but anyway, welcome in to History 125 Western Civ. This class is like the beginning of time until about 1650. So I want to go over basically what this class will look like. This is asynchronous, okay? We are not meeting all together online. We are like doing stuff at our own pace. And this class is weekly based. So I really don't want to read the entire syllabus to you. I think that would be a waste of time. So instead, I kind of want to go over some main points. Well, first, I just mentioned that our class is based on a week schedule. So let me scroll down in the syllabus and you can see exactly what that looks like. So every week, you will have about 3 things that are due, and you'll have about 4 lessons to complete. And so, for example, week 1, that's where we are right now. I want you to go through the introduction of this class, early civilizations, and then wrap up the week with Greece, both ancient and classical. So if you are the kind of person that wants to do all of this on one day, then fine. That's your choice. That's your life, right? If you want to do this like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then that works too. The only thing is, I just want to keep in mind, you guys, this is a 6-week class, so it goes really, really fast. Things are due on Sunday, and remember, if this was not in the summer, you would be taking this class from like August to December. So you'd have months to do this, and we are doing it in just 6 weeks. And so if you are one of those people that's like, oh, I want to do all of these things on one day, I would personally advise against that. This is a lot of work, and you definitely don't want it to kind of sneak up on you, and also to like pile on for yourself is a bit much. If it were up to me, if I were taking this class, I would probably do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then have a happy long weekend for yourself. But again, that is up to you. So you're probably wondering, what is this journal, source dive, vibe check, quiz situation? So let me explain this a little bit, and I think the best way to do that would be to actually go over into Brightspace. So you're all here, which means you have already logged on to Brightspace, but just as a reminder, you're on the main website, go up to My SCC. Once you click on it, you'll be prompted to log in, which will bring you to a page that looks like this. On the side here, we want D2L Brightspace, right? This is what your homepage probably looks like, and we are over here in the summer. I have pinned the classes so that it's easier for me to find. I recommend you do the same. But if you have pinned them every time, it'll just be right there at the start. So this is our class. I am recording one for both classes, so you might be my map class or you might be my statue class, but either one, it's the same. So we're here in the class, and you won't be seeing all of these things. It will be hidden from you, but hopefully you'll be seeing the week 1, right? So we click on over here at week 1. Okay. Like I said, I do roll these out on weekly basis, whatever. So on Monday, I will post them probably at like midnight on Monday. I'll do it automatically, but anyway. Everything will be due on Sunday, except you guys, and this is very important, the last day of class is a Thursday. So week 6 is a short week, and everything will be due on Thursday. But regardless, let's just think of it as Sunday. Okay. I put our homework, I guess it's not really homework because it's just like classwork, right? Regardless, I put our classwork above everything so that you don't get lost. But throughout the week, I would like you to go through our menus that I am quite impressed with myself for thinking of, but maybe you find a little ridiculous. I really like them. So let me show you what menu for lesson 2 or the next lesson would look like, right? I'm going to click on it, and we get an appetizer option, right? These are things that I'd like you to watch to kind of like gear up for what we're talking about today, I guess like this week, the lesson, what we're talking about during the lesson. Anyway, now I have some main courses for you, right? This is where we're going to be getting like the bulk of what you are learning. The appetizer is just to give you a sample. The main course is like, it's the entree, right? Every week you could watch a lecture that I recorded during COVID. So it's a little bit old. The history has not changed. But if I mention like assignments or something, just ignore that because that was what I did during COVID, which is very different than what I do now, right? That was many years ago. Anyway, if you don't want to listen to me talk, that's fair. You can also read the textbook, right? So hopefully you guys have two textbooks for this class. One that is like taller, I guess. The main textbook is called Western Civilization by this guy Spielvogel. And I don't think the textbook is super engaging, but I know some people, you're like a different kind of learner than me, right? I would rather watch a YouTube video, but I know I'm not like everyone is the same thing. So for this week, our early civilizations, maybe you want to watch about the Book of the Dead to kind of set the scene for the lesson. Then you'll watch my lecture where I talk about Mesopotamia and Egypt, right? And then to end, I like to end on a fun note, right? It's dessert. While I do think it is fun, it is still required, so please do. But I have like movie trailers, game trailers, these Ask Historian videos. I absolutely love these, or Ask an Expert video. And I also have like websites and stuff. Now, you might be asking yourself, why are we doing this stupid menu thing? Well, there are two reasons, right? The first and most important reason to me is that I'd like for you to have control over your education, right? This is something that you're doing at home at your own time. I'm not there to help guide you. So part of, I think, being successful in college is having choice. And I know many of you did not choose to be in this class. Western Civ is often a required class. So I get that. I want to give you choice in other ways then, right? Now, the second reason, and a bit of an elephant in the room, is that if you are on a Chromebook, you cannot go to youtube.com, right? This absolutely sucks. I do not like it. The school district doesn't like it. This is something that has to do with data privacy through New York State. So when they blocked YouTube, it's not like someone in our district office was like, no, the children cannot go on YouTube. That's not the case at all. This is about your like privacy rights online. So since I can't send you to YouTube via like a link, instead, I want you to click on these videos. Now, when you click on a video, you can make it like full screen, but if you click the YouTube logo, you will be blocked, right? If you're on a personal computer or your personal phone, you won't have an issue. But like I said, if you're on a like high school Chromebook, then youtube.com is a problem, but not YouTube videos, if that makes sense. Basically, when you go on youtube.com, the website like tracks your movement through like cookies and stuff like that. And so I could have you watch any YouTube video I wanted, right? I just can't have you go on youtube.com. So for that reason, I have done something that I think is truly benevolent, truly nice, hopefully. I've already put all of our videos into MLA citation. So you will have to use citations in class. And since you can't go on youtube.com, I've added them all at the bottom of every menu item. Now, a real MLA YouTube citation would have a link, but because of the problem I just said, I don't think the link will work. So this is kind of my workaround. I'm okay with it, and I'm the professor, so it's going to be fine, right? If any English professors come knocking at the door, I will take all the blame, don't worry. So I mentioned that you have to use YouTube, or not use YouTube, but use citations. So let me explain a little bit more about that, what you're actually going to be writing in this class. I'm back over here at the weekly plan in our syllabus. So I just went over how you go through the content menus, right? You're going to choose one of the appetizers, main courses, desserts for every lesson. And besides the last week, there will be 4 lessons every week. So plan accordingly. We also have a journal that's due, a source dive that's due, and some type of quiz or assessment. Now, our weekly quizzes are not super serious. They're just kind of like check-ins, because again, I'm not there in front of you to like see how you're doing. So the vibe check quizzes are truly that. It's to kind of check where we're at, how we're feeling. But you guys keep in mind, we do have a midterm and final. I have to give you a midterm and final, but I will say more about that later. They are week 4 and week 6. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Okay, so every week there will be a journal, and this is meant to give you something like reflective for you to think about and hopefully be like of some interest to you. I know not everything in history is cool and interesting, but I hope that when you see the options, there's at least something that stands out to you every week, hopefully, right? Now, these journals are not meant to be super serious because I still want to hear your voice. But keep in mind, this is a college class, so it should be professional, but it should still be you, right? And if you have any like questions or you're worried about that, I will help. So just try it out and then I'll let you know. Anyway, because this is a college class, we need evidence, but unlike high school where you can just be like, Doc 1, Doc 2, whatever, the evidence needs to be more formally presented, and so it will have to be an MLA citation. But like I said, luckily, I've already put everything in MLA citation. So for example, our first journal, let me just go back so you can see where I found it. We're here on week 1, go here, journal 1, click on it. Our first journal asks you to think about Athens or Sparta. If you were to go back in time and live in ancient Greece, which one would you rather live in? The lesson for that topic, sorry, let me just navigate really quick. The lesson for that topic would be lesson 3. And let's say to answer that question, you want to use this video that I have, Spartan Life. Well, here it is. And I have the citation right here. So you would answer your question, or the question, with however you want to respond. And then you would put this part of the citation at the end. And you would have to do some in-text citation, but I can explain more if you're really confused, though I did link a video. Hopefully you watched it. But that's what I mean when I say there has to be citations. It needs to be like a trackable content, right? If I give you a Regents document, I know what document it is. But if you say, oh, based on the video, I'd rather live in Athens. Okay, what video? Who made this video? What year was the video? Like you gotta tell me a little bit more here. Which kind of brings us to a bit of an elephant in the room again, which is AI. If you know from class, if you've had me, and many of you had, I am not an enemy of AI. In fact, I love ChatGPT. And when I tell you I love, I mean like I'm talking every day to ChatGPT. I do refer to it as her. She's a good friend of mine, right? But here's the thing, you guys. The point of AI, to me anyway, is to kind of like spark your interest, but not to do things for you, because you are in this class. You are paying for it, right? Maybe not you personally, but someone is paying for it on your behalf. I want for you to experience it. And maybe you try something and it's not perfect. I would rather have an imperfect response from you than a perfect response from my bestie ChatGPT. Okay. um, I don't want to be an AI policeman this summer. I will keep an eye on it, but I'm gonna put some trust in you guys to prove other people wrong. I know that you can do this, and AI can be a tool, right? It's not just a like something that's gonna do work for you, right? So anyway, a brief AI conversation. And I do have a little thing about AI if you want to read. But again, I'm not trying to read off this dang syllabus. So that's the weekly journal. Again, your voice. That is what I want to hear, right? But I can explain a little bit more. But I think we're ready to move on to the source types. So since this is a college class, you have to be interacting with primary and secondary sources. And so like the journal, I want for you to look at a source, read it, watch it. If it's a piece of art, literally look at it. And I am only asking for a couple things. Number one, what is the main idea according to you, right? Again, not my bestie, ChatGPT. According to you, what is the main idea? And what I like about this is that, especially with art, your main idea might be something totally different from another person's main idea, right? And then one of my favorite questions, especially for history, what does this source tell you about the culture that created it, right? When we kind of zoom out, what can we tell that they wanted us to know or they wanted each other to know? Now, these source dives are not as long as the journals. They can be a little bit shorter, and you can answer them in bullet points. Again, as long as it's you, right? Not AI. And I do want you to make sure you use the proper citation. So again, let me head on over to Brightspace and explain a little bit more about what that means. So clicking on the source dive is really important because I have the documents right here. So once you click on it, it looks a lot like the menus. Again, there's 3 choices. And I have the directions, I have the rubric, but, right, if you're going to say, what is the main idea of the Book of the Dead? At the end of your writing, you have to have this citation. And luckily, like I said again, I've already done the hard part for you. The reason for this is not because I'm trying to like baby you or like do the work for you. Trust me, it is very annoying to do the citations. But it's because you can't go on youtube.com. So I have this video for you, but you have no idea when it was uploaded unless I say, because you can't go onto the actual website of YouTube for some, Anyway, so we're thinking about the main idea. We're thinking, what does the source tell you about the culture that created it, right? What do you think? Okay. The last thing that I want to go over for the week is the vibe check quiz. This is meant to be something just to kind of see how you're doing. Do you have any questions? What did you learn that was interesting? What is maybe a challenge for you? Maybe I'll add in a question or something, but again, it's meant to be chill. The purpose for this is because it helps me do attendance. So your vibe check quiz will be like what I tell the college if you had attended a class, right? Quote unquote attended, because we're asynchronous. Okay, that was a lot of information, but let me go over one final thing, just one final thing. Let me start with the grades though, all right? If you, actually, I know all of you have attended Schenectady School District in some way, shape, or form recently. You may know that we have moved over to grading for equity as a policy for our school district. And even though the college doesn't have this official policy, they're very much in support of kind of this idea that we understand your grades based on a portfolio and based on an alpha scale. So your grade in this class will be like A, B, C, D, whatever, and it gets translated to 4.0. But the reason why I say portfolio is because not everything tells me a full picture about how you learned for a class. And the absolute worst thing for teachers and students is a 0, right? Because if I'm averaging your grades, you have one assignment that is beautiful, it's an A or it's a 5 or it's whatever, and then let's say you didn't turn in something else. If you have an A and then you get an F, maybe your grade would be like a 75, right? If we think about what's kind of the difference between an F and an A. But if we think about 100 and a 0, your grade in the class would be 50. that doesn't really sit right with me because your one assignment was perfect. It was 100. But 100 and 0 averaged is 50. So the reason that I'm going to be changing, like I said, is so that I can have a better understanding of how you learn throughout the whole class. I don't want to punish you for missing one thing, or maybe you were feeling really weird about the midterm and it didn't go well. Like, I want for you to have the best shot and for me to understand a little bit more about like you as a student, not just you're a bunch of numbers to me. So when I'm grading something, I'm going to give you 5 points, but the 5 points aren't points that will be averaged. It's just, do you have an A, B, C, D, or F, right? College does not have A pluses. So anyway, that's the plan. I will say more about the midterm and final. Basically, every week I'm going to make like a short video that I'd like for you to watch, a lot shorter than this one, trust me, where I go over like what is kind of up this week on like what's going to be served. I don't know. Anyway, um, let's just see how this first week goes, right? I want to be flexible, and since we're doing the portfolio grading again, I would rather you mess up and I tell you how to fix something than you don't do it, or you use AI to do it, or you just am like, well, I'm going to fail anyway, so why would I even keep bothering, right? To me, that this new grading system is really the best option. And also, like I said, every assignment will have a rubric, so you'll know exactly what I'm looking for a 5, for an A, whatever, what have you. For the computer, I did 5 because I do have like a grade book part of Brightspace, but anyway, it's probably, you're like, I don't care. So let me wrap up this video. I hope that you guys enjoy the first week. I know it can be a little hectic and stressful, so try your best. I'm going to be a little bit more lenient and flexible, right? If week one you try and it doesn't end up okay, I'll give feedback, right? If the next week you're making the same mistakes, I might be like, hey, what is going on that you still don't understand? That helps me be a better teacher or professor, right? And it helps you to be a better learner in charge of your own education. So hopefully this will be a good week for us. And I know that it's a weird start, but we will be really cooking, speeding through some incredibly interesting topics. This class is what I wanted to teach when I became a social studies teacher, even though now, as you guys know, the Global 10 propaganda has like seeped into me and I love Global 10. This was the class that started it all for me. I absolutely love Western Civ, so we are going to have a very fun July and part of August, right? And I will see you guys next week, I guess. So since we are going to be doing the A, B, C, D, F situation, I'm not going to subtract points for late work, though I do want to let you know, you guys, this class goes really fast. And so late assignments that are late by a week will lose a letter grade. So for example, let's say we're in week 1 and you don't turn in the journal on time, but you do turn it in like it's due Sunday and you turn it in on like the next Monday. Okay, fine. If you are a full week difference, then your grade will drop down from, like, let's say it was going to be perfect from an A to a B or a B to a C or whatever. If something is 2 weeks late, it will drop 2 letter points. Letter points? Letters? And if something is 3 weeks late, it will not be passing. It will be getting an F. But if there is a problem or an extenuating circumstance, just let me know. I will be a little bit more flexible during week 1 because I know we're all like struggling with Brightspace and stuff. So if you have an assignment from week 1 that's a little bit late, that's one thing. If you have like a family emergency or something, I'm not a monster. I do care. I care extremely deeply for you guys, even though I don't see you and we're not sitting in class together. So please just let me know and let the college know. But keep in mind, you guys, if something crazy happens in your life, and you let us know like 5 weeks later, it might be a little bit too late for you to like get an accommodation. So if something is going a little wonky for you, please let me know as soon as humanly possible. All right. Now, I know I've been saying, oh, we'll talk about the midterm, and the final, but here we are. Like, it's right above the late work policy in the syllabus, so let me just say very briefly. Okay, the midterm and final are weeks 4 and 6. It will have the information from all of those weeks. So like the midterm could have week 1, 2, 3, 4 on it, right? There are multiple choice, and there's a short essay using documents. If you are familiar with the New York State Regents for global history, then the essay format might be very familiar. It might be asking you to think about something that has endured over time or something that has changed over time, right? Hopefully you're catching my drift here. Before we wrap this up, though, I do just want to let you know. You might be looking at the syllabus and be like, where's the essays? All my friends in another class are writing an essay. We aren't writing a big essay in this class. We are doing instead the weekly journals and the source dives because this is an intro level class and I want to be helping you throughout this course. I don't want to have some crazy huge assignment due on the last day and you haven't gotten any help on it the entire time. So we are going to have a small essay, kind of like an enduring issues essay, on the midterm final situation. But as far as like a big research paper, we're not going to do one giant research paper. Every week we're doing the journals, the source dives, and trust me, you guys, those will all add up and it will look like a research paper. But again, that is for me to help you along the way. I don't want to just make this huge assignment and it causes you a bunch of stress and you have no idea what you're doing and then it's over. I would much rather kind of go on this journey together, this journey through space and time and history. Sounds very grandiose, I know.